speaking of humble, I mean, you can go through so many of your achievements. Let's go to the entry of your international running career, the 1986 Commonwealth Games.
Mm-hmm.
You entered the 10,000 metre run, came fifth.
Yep.
And then marathon.
Yep.
Bronze.
That's right, yeah.
Just for people who, I mean, running is a big sport. It's probably bigger than it's ever been.
Absolutely,
here
right
in
now
Australia.
it is, yep.
Your PB, which we can get to or we can touch on now, 2:08.16. That's an average of 3 minutes and 2 seconds per kilometre or thereabouts.
Yep.
I think it's somewhere in between that and 3:03. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, you're a good man. You've
what,
done your
What was your
stats.
PB in the 10,000 metre?
I ran 27:47. And on that day, so the great story about that Commonwealth Games in 86 was I qualified for the 10K so I just made the team and I was kind of just focused on being a 10K runner. And about 3 months before, my coach, Chris Wardlaw, who's still mentor and great friend of mine now, he looked at the team and saw there was a spot in the men's marathon because every country's allowed to have 3. We only had 2. He said, look, I'll chat to Athletics Australia, see if I can get you in the marathon. And they said, yeah, that's fine. I was already over there. Wasn't going to cost them anything extra. So I ran the 10K on the Saturday night, ran 5th, as you pointed out, and ran about the qualifying time, 28 minutes. So sort of, 250K pace. And then...
Makes me feel sick, that speed.
Yeah, well, and that's, and I was 5th in the race. So it was pretty competitive.
And just to cut you off, and we'll get to entering into the marathon, but... For people listening or watching, I've played with some elite runners in AFL terms, and for a 2K time trial around a grass track, they might, I think there's other clubs where there's been guys that break 6 minutes and they might be 10 or 15 seconds under 6 minutes. Our guys were always around kind of 6 minutes, and that's an average of obviously 3 minutes per K.
Yeah.
You guys are holding on to these speeds for long periods of time. Like, it actually blows my mind. I was never a naturally gifted runner. I tried hard and was okay and got by. But it blows my mind the way that you can train and then run and perform at a threshold that is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of that's my strength is that, you would smash me over 100 metres, smash me over 200, smash me over 400, and then we'd close down at probably about 800. But the interesting thing is I can hold that differential for such a long period of time. And I actually say to people say, oh, you became one of the best distance runners in the world. Well, I didn't ever think like that. All I did was I just enjoyed running longer distances. And I find that I didn't slow down as much as the next person.
Yeah.
So before you knew it, I was kind of further up in the field. And I significantly remember running. I was a 17-year-old. There was no under 17 race. Sorry, there wasn't no. Was I 17? There was no under 18 race. So I had to run in the open race at a run at Gels Park, and all the other kids. I was sort of 3rd or 4th best as an under 18 athlete. And I got into this open race and it was 16K, pretty muddy, and I was just running with these big boys. I remember this one guy, Rob Nayland, looking at me as if to go, no, you're not allowed. You're not meant to be here. What are you doing? And I finished about 8th in that race. And it was just that the distance was longer. And I smashed all the guys who were better than me in my age group just because the distance was longer. And I never had any trouble with that extra distance. And obviously the longest Olympic distance for running, it was a 50K, although they're moving that to a 42.2K walk as well. So the longest Olympic distance was a marathon. So that was naturally what I gravitated to.
Well, I do have some news to break to our listeners. I am running a marathon middle of this year, so any tips for me will be helpful. I am doing it to raise money for brain cancer.
Good on you. Yeah.
It's in South Africa on a very different kind of terrain with animals.
Oh, right. Wow.
And apparently they're attracted to movement, so I'm trying to run it as slow as I can.
I'd be running faster if there's animals. If you're getting chased by a tiger, mate.
I figure I just need to make sure I'm faster than the person next to me.
Yes.
And just, if there is one chasing us, just maybe a little cheap one in the knee or something like that. But for the average Joe who does love their running and wants to go out there and have a crack at a marathon, I know that you do a lot of coaching and mentoring with elite athletes, but also there would be so much in the way that you coach and teach and educate that would help someone like me who's going out there to attack their first long distance run.
So the piece of advice probably is just finish it. So don't tell people a time, because that will put undue pressure on you. But also what I like to say, and I hadn't covered the distance in that first marathon that I did, and most of my training, I ran 35K. I'd run another 10K that night. So I did 45K on a Sunday most days, most weeks, but it was in 2 runs. I'd never covered the distance. But what I recommend you do is, even if you walk or just spend time out, be out there longer than you think you're going to be out there. So if it's going to take
time on legs more so
time on legs, absolutely.
How fast you're running.
Yeah, 4 hours it's a long time to be on your legs, just that amount of time. So people train, they get up to 30K and they've probably done that, in 3 hours. But that last hour, if they're going to take 4 hours, and that last 12K you're getting very fatigued, and mentally to have known you've been on your feet for that long is, I think, a really important lesson. So try and do that. I often say to people, just get your partner to pick you up, 35K down the road, and you have a picnic or a barbie or a coffee at the end of it, but you just get there and it takes you as long. And if you have to have a walk and all that, that's fine, but you're not under any time pressure. Someone will pick you up and you're at the end, and you're going, you're not going to stop until you get there.
And you're not going around in circles, your head in.
Yeah, I like you're heading to a destination as well, which is also mentally
they are
just helps.
very, very good tips.